Hi there, Greg Day, Security CTO for Symantec. Welcome to another video blog. Today I really wanted to wrap up some of those key focal areas for the recent Internet Security Threat Report we released. And the final area of focus really is mobile. And I think smart devices have got a lot of speculation and focus in the last few years around just how big and bad is the threat out there. Well, certainly in the last year we have seen some significant changes, and whilst the volume of threat is still very small compared to the PC space, if we look at platforms like Android, we've really moved from a couple of hundred threats now really up into the sort of 3,000 or 4,000 threats, and we saw nearly 100% increase in terms of vulnerabilities discovered on the device. So what does all of this mean to your business, to your organizations? Well, I think in many ways smart devices kind of almost combine all of those other key areas that we've discussed. We have to be vigilant around the growth of the malware problem. Smart devices, obviously, very key part of using them for many people is the social media content that they offer. And we've very much seen that as we move from the kind of cybercrime attack into these targeted attacks, reconnaissance very often comes through that, can I trick and build relationships with employees rather than trying to brute force my way in. And equally, the goal of those has very much been about information theft. And as we move into this smart device era, we're seeing more and more information being put onto these devices. And in fact, in the report, you've probably seen the Honey Stick project, where we left 50 smart devices in the US and Canada. And we saw that 96% of those devices had information on them accessed. So it just shows when we leave these behind how vulnerable the information really is. So what does all this mean to our security strategies? What do we need to do differently tomorrow? Well, I think the first thing is we have to not be fooled into thinking that these are just phones with email and web browsing. We can't stop there, and certainly what I've seen in the last year is once we start to enable those, then the demands back from the business is I want more and more, all of the great rich capability they offer. And I think we need to think about security in a comprehensive way, learn from the mistakes that we made in the PC space. Don't try and fix problem by problem by problem, but actually look at the bigger picture. And for me, that really starts with, well, what are the devices that you want to support? Is it Apple? Is it Android? Is it Windows? Where and how are they actually going to be used? Are you going to be supplying devices? Are you going to be supporting bring your own device? Or are you going to give the users the ability to choose their own device? And then when we actually start to look at the security controls, we need to kind of work from ground up. Can we utilize the inherent security on the device? How do we manage those devices? How do we recognize them? Then if we move up to the next level, actually, are we just looking to put security around the application where we want to separate between the personal life and the business life? How do we actually identify who the user is and what they're doing with the device? And finally, how do they communicate with it? It's not just about the information flow between the business and the device, but actually access to all of the cloud services that go behind it. And the key for me as we start to build out our strategies here is to think about all of these different elements and how we bring them together. So thank you very much for joining me again today, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next blog.